knew? We thought so. SVP is mixing things up, and digital TV, it'll never be the same. SVP TV, we're family. We're gonna make it for SVP. Download the SVP app today on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Watch us. You know why? We're gonna make it for SVP TV. Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center? Yes, spacious, beautiful venue with plenty of parking, located in the heart of East Memphis. Let us host your next intimate birthday gathering, family repast, bachelorette party, wedding and reception, baby shower, corporate meeting, social club event. Call us today. Don't wait. 901-244-6874. The all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center.
Ladies, do you feel feminine during your feminine flow? You know, your monthly cycle, your period? Are you still suffering in silence? The suffering is over. It's time to choose Rain. Rain is an all-natural, premium sanitary napkin with 8 layers of cotton, high-grade polymers, graphene to help cut bacteria by 99.9%. Ladies, let's protect the most precious jewel in the world, you.
Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins do not make any medically backed claims or personal recommendations of any kind. For more information, contact Marilyn McGee.
Well, see, when you look at somebody like me, I grew up here. There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis that I don't already know.
There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis.
From the boardroom to the streets.
I don't already know.
With Mike from Memphis, man. Together, we can fix things. Really?
When you say, I want to be treated fairly, and I want a voice.
Yeah.
I want
He saw things weren't fair, so he chose to run for mayor. You get up and do something when you really care. It's Memphis 360.
I'm with you.
In the meantime,
It's Memphis 360.
In the meantime, in between time, we got folks shooting people up out the frame. Ain't nobody said a word. We've become accustomed to people dying in this city.
Yeah. It's Memphis 360.
Turning the TV on and the news and see our loved ones and see young people that are out of control. And now you see, okay. We talk about incarceration. We talk about the youth. We talk about giving them the ability. We talk about investing in young people and investing in the community. See, I hate ignorance. I hate when people make decisions about things and they make statements and they haven't done their research.
How can you fix the problem when you don't even know what the problem is?
We need some help in this city.
It's Memphis 360.
See, I hate ignorance.
It's Memphis 360. Man.
And good evening. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Memphis 360, the television show that we said we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. And we have an exciting show for you tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about crime. Hey, but I want you guys to call in and talk to me. And I also want you to call in and talk to my guests. There's a special election that's going on in November. I think the early voting starts around the 18th, 19th of this month, October. But they're going to be electing judges, and I think they got to elect somebody else to the city council, District 4. So got a lot going on here in the city of Memphis. And as usual, we as citizens, we need to be involved. We need to get involved. We got to stop talking about it, and we got to be about it. All of this stuff that's going on here. We have to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. And we are putting all of these people in positions to have fiduciary responsibility, have guidance and control, have judicial responsibility over the citizens of the city of Memphis and Shelby County and we need to be involved. I'm seeing signs out there all over the streets, again, of individuals that are running for individual seats and stuff like that. So please, please, please get involved. Please vote. Please make your wishes, wants, desires known. And at the same time, we need to hold these individuals accountable. Well, all right. You know, this television show, we say that how can you fix the problems and ills and woes of what's going on the bottom? And not to be negative or derogatory, when I say the bottom, the things that are going on out here in the streets where the rubber meets the road, in order to fix those types of issues, you got to know the individuals that you are putting in office, and those individuals need to know the needs, wants, desires of the citizens of this great city, and they also need to have a heart for the individuals in this city as well. We got so much crime going on and so many things happening here in the city of Memphis, but at the same token, it still does not take away the humanistic qualities that a lot of good citizens in this city have. And when we give stewardship of the leadership of this city to individuals, we have to know the individuals, and we have to know what those individuals are in fact about, all right? So we're gonna get started, and I wanna start on a good note. Guess what? Penny Hardaway has signed a 6-year contract with the University of Memphis Tigers. Yay! He has done a whole lot of good things over there at the University of Memphis, and they want to keep him around. And even though the NCAA said all of this stuff, whatever, you know, about the good things that Penny was doing, actually, when he was helping out a lot of the students that attend the University of Memphis, but he had coached a lot of them at East High School and different places like that. Not trying to do anything wrong. He was just trying to be a good Samaritan, good citizen, good coach, individual that made it big, made it good, and he was coming back to the city of Memphis doing good things to help out in the city. So I am glad that the NCAA did not just hit them really hard, the University of Memphis, and because of all of his hard work and efforts, the University of Memphis has signed him to a 6-year contract at $16.5 million. Woo! God, $16.5 million. Yay for Penny. You know, I'm a hometown boy. You know, I am a University of Memphis fan. I am a Tennessee Titan fan. I know some of you guys always jump ship and you're going with these Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers and 49ers and all that kind of stuff, and y'all do what you do, okay? However, the best thing to be, though, is support your local team. So I'm a University of Memphis fan, and that's the bottom line. Went to University of Maryland, went to University of Kentucky, Wildcat, but I am a Memphis diehard fan, and you need to be the same. Now, with a lot of this crime that's going on, we had individuals that, I guess there was a shooting this morning where you had 3 individuals that were shot. And see, this is the thing that kills me here in the city of Memphis. You had a 10-year-old that was killed this morning. You had a 10-year-old and another adult, and you had another adult that is in critical condition, the last that we heard. Yeah, one adult pronounced dead on the scene. 10-year-old was rushed to the hospital but did not survive the injuries. And then you had a second adult in the hospital in critical condition. You know, we have things like this that are happening all over the city of Memphis, unfortunately. I even said then, I am sick of these meetings. I personally am sick of the meetings. Now, I know you got a plan, and I know you have to sit down, and I know you have to talk about it, and I know you have to come up with a plan of attack and courses of action. But we've been talking about it, and we've been planning, and we've been putting together courses of actions for the last 3, 4, 5 years as the homicide rate, as the violent crime rate, as the juvenile crime rate has escalated and increased here in the city of Memphis, and nothing has been done about it. And we're on track now to even break some of those records which kills me. What's up, Chastity Hill? What's going on? Which kills me because people are still dying. People are still being robbed. And one of the other things that they were talking about is, you know, there were 2 arrests and charged in the medical district in regards to that murder over there. Shooting happened around 5:20 Saturday in the medical district, Union Avenue. Thomas Bonner was found dead on the scene, according to the Memphis police. Bonner was shot at the bus stop on Union Avenue and South Bellevue. And the witness, his companion, told police what happened. Bonner and his companion stood at the bus stop when a silver Honda stopped in front of them at the traffic light. According to the affidavit, the passenger, Chisholm, said the offense remarked to Bonner, which led to an altercation. Bonner threatened the suspect as the car pulled away from the light, said police. Graham, the driver and owner of the Honda, so they know who these people are, pulled the car over in a nearby parking lot. Chisholm walked back toward the victim while clenching on his pocket, said police. The witness saw Chisholm retreat toward the Honda to get a ski mask. The affidavit stated when the witness saw Chisholm returning with the mask, she ran away and heard shots. Jesus Christ. The crime in Memphis is off the chain. And for those that don't know, I don't think anybody can refute that. Then they've been having a robbing spree over in Cooper Young area. So you got to be careful over there. You know, a lot of people think it's relegated to the what we call the hood, but that is not the case any longer. You got crime that's spread out to Cordova. When you look at Germantown Parkway, they're doing all kinds of things on Germantown Parkway. You had individuals that were going all over town, breaking into cars on Germantown Parkway, Dexter, and other areas in Cordova, but they're mobile now, so they're all over the place. But they had a rash of robberies over in the Cooper Young area. So, you know, when you think it, and Cooper Young, believe it or not, is listed as one of the best neighborhoods in the United States to live. Cooper Young, believe it or not. But they have had a rash of robberies over there. It says several people were robbed Sunday, according to Memphis police. The first happened around 3:30 p.m. Sunday on Young Street. Victims told police 4 men pulled up in a white SUV with guns, robbing 2 people. Victims said that they were ordered to get on the ground, face down, empty their pockets. And that was just one of the robberies. Then they said around 3, individual and his son was walking a few blocks away for lunch, and says a white SUV went past them. He noticed it stopped about 30 feet away from them. I thought it was odd that the back door of the SUV opened at exactly the same time, so something was off. I grabbed my son and I said, turn around. We need to get out of here, and he said. He didn't think much about it until later when he got home and checked his phone, and it was a good thing he turned around. You know, you want to pay attention to your instincts and different things like that. So he turned around, got out of the area, but after he checked his phone a little bit later on, he found out that that had been a rash of robberies. And it says, I saw a couple of notices on Nextdoor, and I got a text from a friend who had just assisted a couple that robbed just a few streets over. Jesus. You know, when you move into some of these nice neighborhoods and you think it's okay, and then you find out it's just a little bit different. All right? Now, the governor of Tennessee has allocated $100 million for a violent crime intervention fund. That's how serious they think the crime has escalated here in the city of Memphis and here in the state of Tennessee. And it says law enforcement agencies can apply for grants in 1 or 2 ways. Police departments, sheriff offices can apply individually because they realize that there is a serious crime problem here in the state of Tennessee, and especially here in the city of Memphis. Memphis police is slated to receive $3 million in funding the most of any of our West Tennessee law enforcement agencies. And I wonder why. Because we have a lot of crime here in the city of Memphis. That's why. And let's talk about the DA's office real quick. We got a new DA. For those of you that don't know, and I know a lot of you guys been wanting to know and been wondering about the new DA, Steve Mulroy, and how he's going to move. Some people thought he was not necessarily going to be hard on crime and that he was a little bit lenient or what have you, but guess what? He won. So we definitely got to pay attention to what's going to happen and what's coming out of the DA's office and how, what plan of attack do they have to address these crime issues. And the number to call is 901-244-6874, 901-244-6874. I'm talking about all of this crime, but I'd really love to hear what's going on out there with you guys. And please, when I get Miss Lynette Hall Lewis up here, and we start talking about her running for City Judge Division 2, which mostly is traffic court for the city. When we get to talking about that, and y'all have questions, because guess what? We got so many people that go through the traffic court, be lines of people down there that are getting tickets, individuals that are getting misdemeanor citations, individuals that are having problems with driving. So that's a big deal, because you want to know those individuals that you're going to put into those positions. Everybody loved Judge Sugarman, and that's the seat that was vacated. It was Judge Sugarman, who has now become the juvenile court judge. So Miss Lynette Hall Lewis wants to be the next judge to follow in the footsteps, those big footsteps of Judge Sugarman. And the wonderful efforts is into a new phase. And it says, with the hope of restoring public trust and the criminal justice system. On Tuesday, Mulroy announced the formation of 4 district working groups, each of which will be led by a member of his transition team. The focus will focus on specific policy topics that is the central of his agenda. He said, I've asked members of my team to broaden their dialogue with the community about what can be done to improve the criminal justice system. Mulroy said, my unconditional priority is protecting the public from violent crime. He said his unconditional priority is protecting the public from violent crime. In order to do that, we need to restore public trust in the system's fairness. The working groups will develop recommendations toward that end. The 4 working groups and their respective leaders are Disproportionate Minority Contact, Professor Demetra Franks, Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, University of Memphis Law School. Post-Conviction Justice, Mr. William Arnold, Director of the Tennessee Office of Reentry. Restorative Justice, Mike Carpenter, former Shelby County Commissioner and Director of Marketing and Development at My Cup of Tea. Juvenile Justice, Mike Working, founder of Working Law Firm. It says the groups will engage local and national leaders on these issues and develop a set of recommendations for the district attorney, who will share them with the public later this year. So I'm hoping that that's going to be in the year of 2022. All right, there's a lot going on, and I could go on and on about some of the other things that are occurring here in the city of Memphis. Everybody's being affected by this crime. You know, I don't think anybody is immune. I think a lot of people thought that it would never touch them. It would never come to their doorstep. They were immune and they were in a bubble. But I can tell you that nobody is in a bubble anymore. If you are out and about, you are subject to becoming a victim of crime. If you are in your home, I was reading another article where some young lady was laying in the bed and they got to shooting, and this young lady and her husband was asleep, and the gentleman woke up because he heard a gurgling sound and someone choking and coughing. It was his wife laying next to him. And because of the shooting that had occurred outside, a bullet, stray bullet, had penetrated the walls and had shot his wife. And I think she later succumbed to her injuries. And that's so unfortunate. We're hearing stories like this over and over and over. And I don't want us to be, first of all, I don't want to live in fear. I still have to get out. I still have to do things. I don't want you to live in fear. But I definitely want you to be careful. I saw an article by a former captain on the sheriff department, Mr. Benny Cobb. He put it up on Facebook. He said, if I were you and if you could afford it, get you a second car, get you a little, he called it a little beater car that you can ride around in, because you know, people are afraid now that if they take their nice cars out into downtown or out into the city, especially if they're partaking in some of the festivities and events that are occurring around the city, that because of all of the car burglaries, that your car may be a target. If you have one of those nice Porsche 911s, some of those big SUVs like the Tahoes and the Suburbans, some of you guys can afford those Jaguars and different things like that because you've been working hard all your life, and these are the type of things that you've wanted, and you've worked really hard to secure those type of things. And even not if you have achieved the status of a Jag, because I haven't achieved that yet. Miss Lynette Hall Lewis may have, but I have not as of yet. And you just have a normal car. You know, a little Ford, Taurus, or Nissan Sentra, or Nissan Maxima, or something like that. You've worked hard all your life to achieve that as well. You do not want to become a victim, and you've spent your hard-earned money. But I will tell you, you know, I have a nice car at the house, a little Tahoe or whatever, but I very rarely drive it. I think I bought it last October, and up until this year, believe it or not, I mean recently this year, I only had 400 miles on it. And the reason I only had 400 miles on it, and I told my wife, you know, I said, well, if we go to dinner a lot of times, I drive a little Nissan Sentra. I might take my Nissan Sentra, or I may take her car, which is a Nissan Maxima. And I very rarely drive the Tahoe, because even before Mr. Cobb put that out, I had already said that I didn't want to just be taking my car out there, and I don't work hard in this. Man, if you bought one of these things during the pandemic, you're paying a house note and an arm and a leg for it. And I know they said don't cherish material things, and not necessarily because I cherish it, but because I like it. And mainly I just use it to drive in and out of town if I go out of town, so that me, my wife, my grandkids, or whomever, we can be comfortable and kind of spread out. And it's bad when you think that it's okay to drive your vehicle, something that you have worked really hard for, and you can take it to another city, because I'm gonna tell you this, crime happens everywhere. It's not just Memphis. But you kind of get in the mindset that you don't want to really do it here, and it's okay to take it out of town, when realistically it's not, because crime happens everywhere, like I said. But at the same token, we just get kind of caught in those little mindsets, okay? So I am so glad that you are tuning in. Thank you so much, Miss Katrina. I see you on there, Reginald Farmer. I see you on there, Truda Robinson. I see you on there, La Janice Wilson. Thank you guys so much for tuning in Facebook. I am going to take a real quick commercial break, but I don't want you to touch that dial. We're just going to change the setup. On Facebook, we're going to stay live. On SVP TV network, we're going to go to a commercial break so that I can bring Miss Lynette Hall Lewis on stage, who is running for City Court Judge, District 2. And we're going to find out why she's running and a little bit about her. We're just going to have a casual conversation, because when they go to a lot of these forums, a lot of time it's so formal, you don't get to know them, and they may not get to answer a whole lot of questions, and a lot of the questions are kind of formatted. I don't have any questions. I'm going to ask her the things that I would want to know as a citizen so that I could find out who, in fact, I am voting for, as opposed to somebody that I see on the stage and I don't know. I encourage you to call in. The number is 901-244-6874, 901-244-6874. You know, it always amazes me. A lot of times when I'm here by myself and I'm talking about these crazy subjects, the phone line's just going off. And a lot of times when I bring on serious issues, and I have individuals that have the ability to affect your life, I never get the questions. But then after the fact, everybody wants to talk about, oh, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that person got in. I don't know how this person got in. One of the most valuable things that you have that don't cost you anything is the power of your vote. You can change things with the power of your vote. So don't take that lightly. I am an informed voter. I really think about the individuals that I vote for. I think about what they have done. I think about what they're doing. And I think about the possibilities of what they could do. But a lot of that is going to be based off of what they have done in the past and what I have seen. Not what somebody has told me, but what I have seen as I have observed them in their day-to-day walk. Okay? So we're going to take a real quick commercial break, and we're going to set the stage up for Miss Lynette Hall-Lewis. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center? Yes, spacious, beautiful venue with a club event. Call us today. Don't wait. 901-244-6874. The all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center.
Ladies, do you feel feminine during your feminine flow? You know, your monthly cycle, your period? Are you still suffering in silence? The suffering is over. It's time to choose Rain. Rain is an all-natural, premium sanitary napkin with 8 layers of cotton, high-grade polymers, graphene to help cut bacteria by 99.9%. Ladies, let's protect the most precious jewel in the world, you.
Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins do not make any medically backed claims or personal recommendations of any kind. For more information, contact Marilyn McGee.
Hey folks, it's Issa Haddad here. I got some good news and a special invitation for you to come see me here at Sunrise Collierville. Come on down, check out my inventory with new, pre-owned, and certified vehicles to choose from. I can get you finance when no one else can. Come on by, bring your family. I treat you like family. Come see me, Issa, here at the #1 dealership in the Mid-South, 4605 Houston Levy Road, Sunrise Collierville. Come on down, check out my inventory with hundreds of vehicles to choose from, pre-owned, new, and certified.
Good news from Sunrise Chevrolet. Get in your new vehicle today. Come on in, ask for Issa. Bankrupt, slow pay, bad credit, it's okay. Let Issa put you in your brand new truck or car today when you shop at Sunrise Chevrolet Collierville.
And don't forget, ask for me, Issa.
And we'd like to welcome you back to Memphis 360, the television show that we said we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. And we have all kinds of special guests on our show. We've had the sheriff and county commissioners and city council people, and we've had, guess what? We've had activists and gang members and all of that, because at some point, all of them got to meet somewhere in order to fix this. In order to fix the ills and woes and everything that is happening here in the city of Memphis, we have to all come together to work collectively to fix what's happening here in the city. But I am so excited. I got a special guest in the studio tonight. I got Miss Lynette Hall-Lewis, who is running for City Court Judge District or Division, I keep saying District, Division 2. So welcome to the show, Ms. Hall. How are you, Ms. Hall Lewis?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Okay, then. So we're going to get started with this. And if you guys out there in Facebook land, or if you're out there in TV land, because I think you can go to SVP TV Network. You can download the app. You can catch us on Apple TV, Uverse, Roku, and we're also on Comcast Channel 17. Now, because about where you're from and a little bit about your childhood.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're going to go way back.
Okay. Well, my name is Lynette Hall Lewis, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's an honor. I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, until I became a wayward child.
Oh, wow.
And my parents sent me down south to continue my education because, quite frankly, I got with the wrong crowd. I'm just going to be honest.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Got with the wrong crowd, and so they shipped me down to Mississippi, and I lived with my aunt and uncle in Greenwood, Mississippi.
Mm.
And when I got to Greenwood, Mississippi, I had probably a D- GPA.
Okay.
And by the time I graduated, I was probably a C+. It was so low. But by the time I left high school, I was a C+.
Wow.
I then enrolled in Jackson State University and started off as a communications major,
Okay.
but then changed my major to criminal justice.
Mm.
So I have a BS from Jackson State University, and I will just say, due to the mentorship of the family that took me in Mississippi,
Wow.
it turned me around
Okay.
and probably saved my life. And that's pretty much how I kind of started on this road to being an attorney.
Wow.
So while I was at Jackson State, I was dating a young man, and his brother was accused of a crime, and the family believed that he did not do the crime, but they didn't have the means to fight it. And so I was still in college, and I went down to the courthouse with them and tried to be their advocate to kind of talk through just the bureaucracy of being in the judicial system.
Okay.
And basically, I learned from that experience that in order to be a true advocate for someone, you need additional training.
Mm.
So I decided to enroll in law school.
Wow.
And so I enrolled in another HBCU, Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And finished my law degree and passed the bar and began just working at a private firm, taking on different cases, representing families who had been wronged. I had one particular lawsuit where a family, an older person was in a nursing home, suffice it to say, and they just didn't take care of that person. And that poor man fell out the bed and broke his hip, and they just picked him up and put him back in the bed for 3 days without receiving any treatment. And so that was one of my cases that I handled.
So you were doing civil law?
I was doing civil law.
Okay.
While I was at Southern University, I was in an internship. I had the opportunity to actually work as a prosecutor in their city court,
Okay.
as well as the indigent defender.
Okay.
So I did 1 semester as a prosecutor and 1 semester as an indigent defender in Baker City Court, which is right outside of where Southern University is.
Wow.
And so that was a good experience, and it was basically the same thing that what I'm applying for now. I call what I'm doing now, I'm asking for a promotion.
Okay.
I'm a City of Memphis employee, been there for 16 years, I believe 16 years.
Really?
Yes, since I was appointed by former Mayor Dr. Willie Harrington.
Wow.
Yes,
See,
when
you learn a lot about people.
You thought you knew everything.
Well, see, and I say that because I've dealt with Miss Lynette Hall Lewis as the president of the Police Association. But
Oh, so I started out, I was appointed by Dr. Harrington, and I started out as an assistant city attorney.
okay.
And then through multiple promotions, I have served in various roles at the city.
Right.
So, but that is where I began my tenure with the city.
Wow.
And I stated that I went to Southern University Law School in Baton Rouge, and I began my legal career in New Orleans, and lived there and practiced there as a litigation attorney. for probably 13, 14 years
Okay.
before Hurricane Katrina.
Ah, so that's how you ended up
That's
in
how I
Memphis.
ended up in Memphis.
Okay.
So Hurricane Katrina decided to take a turn on a Friday night, and instead of going to Florida, it came to New Orleans, and we ended up evacuating to
Right.
here in Memphis.
Mhm.
And, you know, the rest is history. At the time, our daughter was very young. She was 4.
Mhm.
She had been recently diagnosed with autism.
Oh, wow.
And so we were dealing with that diagnosis, as well as, do we stay or do we go? Do we go back and just kind of rebuild?
Mhm.
And we prayed on it,
Mhm.
and we determined that Memphis was the best place for our family.
Wow.
And so we began our careers here.
You know, and it just, what amazes me is I've had several judges that are actually sitting judges now, and they were up for re-election, and I'm not going to call their names, but what I like about this is, see, I just learned a lot about you. You know, and I tell people all the time, you see my glory, but you don't know my story. You know what I mean? I just found out that Miss Lynette Hall Lewis was a wayward child coming out of Chicago, and I had Miss Chastity Hill on here saying, Chi-Town woman. Miss Chastity's from Chi-Town as well.
Okay.
And she was saying, Chi-Town woman. But, you know, you see an individual that's sitting here right now, and I tell young people this all the time. Sometimes you make mistakes, but you can recover. Just don't get so deep that you can't recover, you know, or that you can't be some of your reputation or your ability to elevate has been cut off or stifled or something like that, because, you know, I come from the inner city Memphis, by the projects, didn't have anything. A lot of people thought I was never going to amount to anything because I was kind of buck wild too. And I got a way to go to the Army, you know. But I had to separate myself from what was going on there. And in doing that, I was exposed to the world, went to University of Maryland, went to University of Kentucky, Chaminade University in Hawaii, you know, because I saw things and I saw people and I was like, ooh, I want some of that. Ooh, and if he can do that, I can do that. He's not smarter than me. But when I was in that environment, that's all I knew. You know what I mean? So you have a young lady here who came from Chicago, ended up in Mississippi, helping people, went to New Orleans, advocating for individuals, and because of Hurricane Katrina, then she ended up here in the city of Memphis, working for the city of Memphis. So, married, got any kids?
Yes.
I heard you said a daughter.
I have a daughter and I have a husband, been married to Bill Lewis for 28 years.
What?
Yes, and our daughter just recently turned 21.
Okay.
And before I tell you about Madison, 2 points I want to follow up on that, what you were just saying.
Okay.
When you left and traveled the world.
Yeah.
I made a decision at one point. I told you I had that D grade average just on one day, and I said, I'm just going to try today. Let this be a new day. I'm going to go to class. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to study tonight. And then it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
But over those next 3 years, I was able to pull my grades around.
Okay.
I forgot the second point I was going to make. Oh, no, the second point is, just like you talked about your environment, if you have somebody who believes in you and mentors you
Yeah.
and tells you, because in my mind, when I left Chicago, college was just what I saw on TV.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that I ever thought that I could do.
Wow.
I remember Different Strokes. Willis went to college, and I just thought that was something that people on TV did. But I had someone who believed in me
Really?
and who mentored me and said, yes, you can go to college. And I was like, okay, I'm going to I can really go to college? And so I did that.
Exactly.
But it's important to know that if you have somebody that believes in you, that can really change. So it's important to go out and mentor.
Okay. And you were going to say something about Madison?
So Madison, so back to Madison, that's our only child. She was 4 at the time, and she was diagnosed with autism. And the pediatrician told us that she may regress and stop walking, and that she probably would never speak. And so that was a hard diagnosis for us to face. And so, of course, we started praying. And then after that, I started just researching and just trying to find out what could I do to help my child be the best version of herself.
Right.
And so I started researching, and we just started doing all kinds of therapies with her, and I just was very patient and wanted to hear her voice. I just wanted to hear her call me mama, you know. And so that day when she finally did say mama, that was a great day.
That was a milestone.
Yes.
Yeah.
A very good milestone. And so I said, okay, we're on the way.
Right.
So through a lot of therapy and just also exposing Madison, taking her out, I would take her to church. She would disrupt our church. She would run up and down the aisles. If you ever have seen a child with autism, they need a lot of understanding and patience, because
Right.
the reason why they're acting out is because they don't know how to communicate or
Okay.
to say that this music is too loud at the church. So she started off that way, but the praise report, because I do have one,
I know it's coming.
the praise report is Madison went on, she did not lose her ability to walk. She became a track star for Special Olympics.
Wow.
She won gold medals down
Wow.
in Biloxi at the
Wow.
Special Olympics. She became a cheerleader. Madison kicked her leg, did cartwheels, everything, and she used her voice. She said cheers. She went to Disney World with a special needs group of cheerleaders. They won a national championship, just like you see those girls on ESPN in front of the castle.
Wow. Wow.
But it doesn't stop there. She also cheered in middle school and in high school on the varsity team. But by the time she tested, I had her tested right before she left high school, autism was no longer in her report. So she was pretty much recovered from that. She still has an intellectual disability, but Madison talks. She knows how to read. She knows how to, add and subtract. And the biggest praise report is we dropped her off at college in August.
What?
Yes.
What school is she attending?
So she's at Arkansas State in Jonesboro.
What?
Which is an hour and 12 minutes from our house.
Yeah, you know exactly, an hour and 12
It's
minutes.
an hour and 12 minutes from our home. But there's a program, they have a program for individuals with intellectual disabilities.
Okay.
And it's supported. So there's 9 students in her cohort, but she lives in a dorm, and she goes to class, and she doesn't have a roommate. That was her preference, but she is doing well in school.
Look at that.
And we just give God all the glory.
Look
for
at
that.
that. Look
We
at
give
that.
We give him all the glory for that.
I'm hearing about all kinds of ways that you have overcome obstacles and stumbling blocks, and you haven't let any of that deter you, or evidently has not deterred Madison. So evidently she's learning that in the household, that you can achieve, that you can do things that, because I know probably along the way, some people gave up on you, some people got frustrated, some people said, these things cannot be done, but you have continued to do. Now you're here in the city of Memphis. Let me ask you this. How hard was the LSAT when you took it?
I'm not that great of a test taker. I had to take it a few times.
Okay.
I did the ethics, blew through that, but the LSAT was tough for me.
Really? Okay. So what made you decide to want to stay here in the city of Memphis?
We had a support group. My husband had 3 sisters here at the time.
Okay,
I had
okay.
2 good cousins. And like I said, we had a young child that we needed to get into school immediately. She had only gone to her first day of school that Friday.
Oh, wow.
So, New Orleans just wasn't going to be online.
Right.
And we just looked at it and determined that this would be the best place. And we could have gone back, but no, we decided, it's just been good to us. Memphis has been good to us. It's where we've raised our child. It's where we attend church. It's where we work. We have, friends and relatives here. So we're here.
So was your husband raised here in
No.
Memphis? He wasn't from Memphis. He just had 3 sisters that were here.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Was he from New Orleans?
No, he was from Greenwood, Mississippi.
Oh, he was
He
from
was from
Greenwood.
Greenwood, Mississippi.
Oh.
But we didn't meet. We didn't meet until after college.
Really?
He went to Mississippi Valley State.
Oh, Mississippi Valley. Oh, okay. So now you've been here, you've worked in the city of Memphis for 16 years, came in under Dr. Harrington and all of that good stuff, appointed by him. So what makes you want to be a judge now?
Well, it's not just now. I've always wanted to be a judge.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be a judge, and even back when I was in New Orleans. But the timing is right now for me, in that my child is on her own in college.
You're an empty nester.
I'm an empty nester, so I have the time to devote to putting my efforts into a new career. But also, I've always just wanted to I had a love for the law. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that, yes.
Yeah.
But I could have run for judge in this last election cycle that we had, because there were numerous positions available.
Yeah.
But I've always had my eye on city court.
Okay.
One, because I'm a city employee, and two, because that's what I call the people's court.
Okay.
And the reason why I call it the people's court is because I would say 80 to 90% of the people who come without attorneys. And so there you'll be able to interact with just everybody from, every corner of Memphis. And I just believe that given the baggage, that everybody has baggage, right? My baggage that I probably bring is I'm an individual that has seen a marginalized demographic, that being individuals with disabilities, right? Being mistreated or shunned, or just even when I go back to the guy I dated years ago whose family had limited means, these, how people just sometimes tend to look down. My baggage is that I tend to want to help those individuals.
Wow.
And I have patience because, like I said, a child with autism requires patience. And I believe that God makes no mistakes. And that when you are given a child with disabilities, that means that he believes and knows that you are right for that child and that you will do right by that child and protect them. So I believe that city court will just give me an opportunity to be with the people.
Okay.
And I would be, if elected, you're gonna see a judge that is compassionate, that is patient,
Wow.
and that is inclusive.
And I definitely believe, because I have worked in general sessions courts for the last 2 years, and that's dealing with all of the county courts. General sessions, everybody comes through general sessions that commit crimes. They're arraigned there, and if it's deemed necessary, a felony or what have you, then it's kicked upstairs to criminal court. But I definitely have been able to deal with a lot of the judges, and I'm gonna tell you that I have run into some good judges, individuals that definitely care and have compassion for individuals. When I talk about Judge Anderson, who works in the Veterans Court, and I learned a lot about the Veterans Court and a lot of the stuff that they do and how he feels about the veterans. And I definitely could go on and on. Judge Patrick Dandridge in the Environmental Court, and Judge Massey. She's dealt with a lot of the high-profile cases that have come through. I think the suspects that possibly are accused of killing young Dolph, I saw them in that courtroom. The young man who killed the young lady who was jogging a couple of weeks ago, I saw him in their courtroom. And I even think the young man who was running around doing all of the shooting on Facebook and all of that, he was in her courtroom, I believe. So I don't know how they keep ended up in her courtroom, but they came through her courtroom. And one thing I liked about, she handled her business. She was, even though these individuals are accused of atrocious crimes, she did not talk down to them, she did not belittle them, she treated them in a respectful manner, and it was what it was, and she did what she had to do, and she sent it on to wherever it had to go, and ensured that they had counsel and different things like that. And I'm going to tell you, what I've found working down in 201 Poplar is a lot of times people come down there because everybody that comes down there is not a criminal.
Right.
And you have a lot of citizens that come down there and they just don't know how to navigate the system, or a lot of them are afraid because they have never come in contact with the law before. And even when it comes to something as simple, because I know the traffic courts because I used to have to go to the traffic courts as a police officer. But I also know the traffic courts because I've also had to deal, and another good judge is Judge Chandler, Jane Chandler, who's down there. You know, she's by the book. She expects this and expects that, and but all of these individuals have compassion for the citizens of the city of Memphis, and a lot of them are, you know, they are where they need to be at this particular time because a lot of people are traumatically affected by COVID. They're traumatically affected by their economic situation and status, you know what I mean? And like you said, and even being traumatically affected, it affects the way a lot of people think, and some people are not thinking clearly. It's obvious with everything that's going on. So we definitely need somebody that's going to be in those courts that are compassionate toward people, but at the same time know how to administer justice when needed. So do you have, when you're elected,
I claim it.
okay,
I name it and claim it.
when you're elected, what plans do you have for Division 2? Have you been down there already? Have you surveyed the courtroom, kind of know what's going on and have a plan for what it is that you want to do or how you want to handle it?
Well, as an attorney, I've been there
Okay.
representing myself as well as other
You got tickets?
years ago.
You got
years
tickets?
Ago, years ago.
Okay, okay,
But yes, I mean, obviously I'm familiar with the court.
okay.
I would say that Judge Sugarman, I mean, there's just some awesomely big shoes to fill,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I have nothing that I can actually say in terms of improvement.
Okay,
I worked in his campaign,
okay.
and I was his volunteer coordinator, so I respect him deeply.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and so I'm sure if elected, he will show me the ropes.
Mentor?
Yes. You know, as a judge to judge.
Right,
So,
right.
But yes, I just plan to just be someone that is respectful of everybody,
Mhm.
and then just listens.
Mhm, mhm.
I think a lot of times in our society, we're so stuck on our position that we're being quiet to wait to respond.
Mhm.
And so active listening
Okay.
to people who come to the court to understand what the situation is and to just rule with compassion and within the confines of the law. That's what I plan to do.
I can remember when I was a police officer and I was out in the streets, one of the hardest things, and I would never take a ticket writing detail. Never take a ticket writing. If I could get out of writing tickets, man, believe me, I would do it. Because I ran into so many people who, young ladies who, you know, kids in the car crying all over the place. She trying to get to work. She trying to drop them off at daycare. License bad, tags bad, no insurance. Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely want you to have insurance in case you run into me and all of that other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it puts you in a situation, you know, because you do have feelings for those individuals, and you know, car seats and going on, sit down somewhere. You know, but it's hard. So it's going to be a hard road to hoe, or a hard road to hoe, as they would say in Mississippi when I was down there picking cotton. But we got about 3 minutes left. Tell the citizens of the city of Memphis why they need to vote for Lynette Hall Lewis.
Certainly. I would say if you vote for Lynette Hall Lewis, you're voting for an attorney who has a diverse legal experience. In that I've represented families, businesses, corporations, and of course the city of Memphis. But more importantly, you will be electing an individual that has compassion, that has patience, understanding, someone that will hear both sides, hear all sides, and just be someone that is respectful to all the citizens that come. And if you're looking for someone who is who has that type of diverse legal experience, as well as someone who has compassion in their heart and understanding, then you should vote for number 5. Take the drive for number 5. Number 5 on the ballot, and early voting begins on October 19th through November 3rd, and election day is on November the 8th. And I thank you for your consideration.
Wow, take the drive for number 5. I like that. That rhymes. Take the drive for number 5. And I'm going to tell you, yeah, I am a little bit biased. I know Lynette Hall Lewis. I dealt with her as the president of the Police Association, and sometimes I wasn't so easy to deal with. Well, I wasn't just a giving person. I wouldn't give in. And I think they would put Miss Hall on me because I was kind of, she had a way of dealing with me, you know what I mean? And I definitely think they set Miss Hall at me. But I was okay with it. Because I'm going to tell you, she did show compassion. She did show that she understood what was going on and the needs of the workers, the officers, or anybody else that worked for the city of Memphis. So that kind of drew me in. So I have been drawn in ever since. And I'm going to tell you that I am going to be voting for Lynette Hall Lewis. Now, you do what you want to do. Do your research. But I'll tell you that if you vote for her, you won't go wrong. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in once again to Memphis 360. It has been a plum-pleasing pleasure. And as usual, be blessed, be strong, be encouraged, and we'll see you next week.
SVP.